Marcus and I had been married for 3 years, and he was a model husband in everyone's eyes. Until that afternoon, as I was preparing his birthday surprise, an unknown call came in. Is this Mrs. Grace? Your husband spent 128 yuan at our drugstore, but his phone battery died. Could you? Without thinking much, I grabbed my wallet and was about to head downstairs. Okay, I'll be right there. The person on the other end seemed to breathe a sigh of relief and added, all right, I'll hold on to this box of emergency contraceptive pill for you then. It turned out this 3-year dream was only worth 128 yuan. The frosting on the birthday cake hadn't even been smoothed, but my world had already crumbled. When returned, I was sitting on the sofa, the glaring box of pills on the coffee table in front of me. He saw the pill box, and a flicker of unease crossed his otherwise perfect face. Then, he walked over and nonchalantly slipped the pillbox into his pocket. What's wrong? He sat beside me, attempting to put his arm around my shoulder as he usually did. I pulled away. The air was so quiet we could hear each other's breathing. Marcus, isn't there anything you want to tell me? My voice was calm, but my fingernails were digging into my palms. He sighed, his handsome face showing a blend of helpless and indulgent concern. Grace, I know what you're thinking, but it's not like that. It's about my new teaching assistant, Tiffany. She's just a young girl, fresh out of college, a bit naive. She had an accident with her boyfriend, got scared out of her wits, and begged me for help. I couldn't just watch her, a young woman, go by something like that herself. It would reflect poorly on her. His explanation was flawless. He even took my hand, and the sincerity in his eyes made it impossible to tell he was lying. It was my fault. I didn't tell you sooner because I was afraid you'd overthink it. Don't be angry, okay? He continued to soothe me, but I knew, this time was different. I looked at him, the man I had loved for 3 years. He was my university professor, gentle and refined, exceptionally talented, a dream guy in every girl's heart. It took me 2 years to finally win him over. In our 3 years of marriage, he pampered me like a princess. Everyone envied me for marrying for love. But now, the faint gardenia perfume scent on him was identical to the perfume bottle in the background of Tiffany's social media post today. I pulled my hand away and slapped him across the face. Marcus, do you think I'm some saint here to forgive all your sins? The sharp slap echoed in the living room. Marcus's head snapped to the side from the impact, his face a mask of disbelief. He had never seen me like this. I had always been docile and compliant. The shock in his eyes slowly turned into hurt and coldness. Grace, I explained it to you. Must you humiliate me like this, all because of some irrelevant person? He stood up, looking down at me as if I were the one in the wrong. You need to calm down. With that, he stormed out. I looked at the lonely cake on the table. The words happy felt like a cruel mockery to me. The next day, Marcus didn't come home. It was the first time in 3 years of marriage that he had done this. In the past, no matter how much we argued, he would always come back to comfort me. But this time, there were no calls, no messages. I sat alone in the empty house, my heart growing colder. It wasn't until evening that the doorbell rang. I thought it was him, so I rushed to open the door. Standing at the doorway, however, was Tiffany. She was wearing a white dress, with her long hair draped over her shoulders, a light layer of makeup on her face, and her eyes red, as if she had suffered a great injustice. Mrs. Grace, she began timidly, holding a fruit basket. Professor said you were ill, and I came to check on you. I blocked the doorway, not letting her in. I'm not sick. What do you want? Tiffany's eyes grew even redder, tears clinging to her eyelashes, threatening to fall. Mrs. Grace, have you misunderstood Professor and me? That box of pills was really for me. I was so scared at the time that I begged Professor for help. Professor argued with you because of this, and I feel terrible about it. As she spoke, she made to bow an apology. I watched her performance with cold eyes, thinking she's a master manipulator, a real wolf in sheep's clothing. No need to apologize. Just leave. Perhaps my words were too blunt, as Tiffany's expression instantly froze, and tears actually fell. Mrs. Grace, I really didn't mean to. I know, I nodded. You did it on purpose. Just then, Marcus appeared from behind her, holding dinner from my favorite restaurant. He saw Tiffany crying and immediately frowned. He stepped past me, pulling Tiffany behind him protectively, his tone one of unconcealed reproach. Grace, if you have a problem, direct it at me. What kind of person picks on a young girl? Tiffany, hiding behind him, peeked out, looking at me with a triumphant yet aggrieved expression. I laughed, a bitter laugh. Marcus, are you blind? Can't you see this is my home? Bringing the other woman here to flaunt her, are you really asking for trouble? My words made Marcus's face turn ashen. Neighbors were already peeking out, curious about the commotion. He probably felt humiliated, so he lowered his voice and warned me, Grace, stop this. It's a bad look. Oh really? I looked around, then raised my voice. Yes, it is quite a bad look, especially since there aren't enough people witnessing your affair. Marcus's face completely darkened. He pulled Tiffany, wanting to escape the scene. I have nothing more to say to you. As she passed me, Tiffany suddenly let out a yelp, and the fruit basket in her hand dropped, scattering fruit everywhere. She twisted her ankle, stumbling directly towards me. I instinctively tried to dodge, but Marcus was faster. He shoved me aside, cradle ing Tiffany steadily in his arms. My lower back hit the doorframe hard, making me gasp in pain. Meanwhile, Tiffany, in his arms, apologized tearfully, I'm sorry, Mrs. Grace, I didn't mean to. Are you okay? Marcus didn't even glance at me, only checking on Tiffany anxiously. Are you all right? Did you twist your ankle? He looked so utterly devoted, anyone unaware would think he was holding some priceless treasure. Watching them, I felt as if my heart had been plunged into ice water, cold and aching. After that night, Marcus started giving me the silent treatment. He spent less and less time at home, and when he did return, he would just lock himself in the study. We were like strangers living under the same roof. Until the weekend, when his mother called, inviting us home for dinner. I never dared to treat Marcus's family home gatherings lightly. I got ready, putting on my usual elegant makeup and a suitable outfit. In the car, Marcus finally spoke. When we get back, don't let my mother notice anything. His tone was cold. Don't worry, I said, looking out the window with a blank expression. My acting is better than yours. Marcus's family home was a family of academics, highly valuing appearances. As soon as we entered, Margaret took my hand, asking about my well-being. At the dinner table, the atmosphere was perfectly harmonious. Marcus, too, seemed like a different person, diligently serving me food, gently wiping sauce from the corner of my mouth, perfectly playing the role of a loving husband. If I hadn't lived through it, I would almost believe everything before was just my imagination. Just as I was about to be numb to this fake warmth, the doorbell rang. After the housekeeper opened the door, Tiffany walked in. She saw a room full of people and froze, then put on a terrified yet innocent expression. I'm sorry, I didn't know there were guests today. Professor said he left an important file in the study and asked me to pick it up. Margaret paused. Hen looked at Marcus. Marcus immediately stood up, his expression composed as he explained, Mom, this is my new teaching assistant, Tiffany. She's a very diligent young woman at work. Then he turned to me and said gently, Grace, you eat with Mom for now. I'll be right back. He took Tiffany upstairs. I sat at the dining table, listening to their deliberately hushed conversations and laughter drifting down from upstairs, my grip on the cutlery so tight I thought I'd snap them. Margaret's face was somewhat displeased. She scrutinized me, saying pointedly, Grace, it's not easy for men to make their way in the world. Sometimes they have many social engagements, and it's inevitable to have other women around. As a wife, you need to be more understanding, and keep your eyes open, so no one can take advantage. I forced a smile, saying nothing. A few minutes later, Marcus and Tiffany came back downstairs together. Tiffany was holding a file folder, her face flushed with a shy blush. Marcus walked her to the door. Before leaving, Tiffany turned and looked at me. Her eyes no longer held their previous timidity, instead, there was blatant provocation. She even mouthed something to me. Thank you. I understood instantly. That so-called important file was nothing but an excuse. She was just here to spite me, to declare her territory. When returned, he sat down nonchalantly and resumed eating. I put down my cutlery and looked at him. Marcus, let's talk. He frowned. Let's talk about it at home. No, we'll talk about it right here, I insisted. All eyes at the table turned to us. I took a deep breath, suppressing all the hurt and anger, and spoke calmly, let's get a divorce. For the moment the word divorce left my lips, the entire dining room fell silent. Margaret's spoon clattered into her bowl. The composure on Marcus's face instantly crumbled. He grabbed my wrist with alarming force. Grace, have you not caused enough trouble? His voice was laced with suppressed fury, his eyes burning as if he wanted to devour me whole. I violently shook his hand off and stood up. I'm not causing trouble, I'm serious. Marcus, I can't go on with this marriage anymore. It makes me sick. Margaret finally reacted, slamming her hand on the table. Nonsense. Grace, how could you say such a thing? What has our family ever done to wrong you? Marcus is such a rare find, what more do you want? I looked at her, suddenly finding it amusing. Yes, Marcus was indeed perfect in the eyes of outsiders. Whether he's good or not, you should ask his teaching assistant, Tiffany. Or ask who he bought that 128 yuan emergency contraceptive pill in his pocket for. My words successfully shattered the facade of decency Marcus had tried so hard to maintain. Marcus's face went from ashen to pale, his lips trembling, unable to utter a single word. He probably never expected me to expose this in front of his entire family. He always thought I loved him enough to endure anything for him. Margaret's expression was also a kaleidoscope of emotions. She looked at me, then at her discomposed son, trembling with anger. You slander. Listen for yourself, I said, taking out my phone from my bag and playing the call recording. The clerk's clear voice echoed in the dining room. I'll hold on to this box of emergency contraceptive pill for you then. The evidence was ironclad. Marcus seemed to have all his strength drained away, slumping into his chair. Watching his defeated appearance, I felt no satisfaction, only endless weariness and sorrow. I turned to leave. Marcus suddenly rushed forward and embraced me from behind. His body was trembling, his voice filled with an unprecedented panic and plea. Grace, don't go, please, don't go. Things really aren't what you think. I can explain everything. Listen to me, it's not what you think. Tiffany, she's my sister, my half-sister. This explanation was even more shocking than his affair. I stopped and looked back at him as if he were a stranger. Sister? Marcus nodded vigorously, gripping my arm with surprising strength. Yes, she's my father's illegitimate daughter from outside, we only recently found her. Her mother fell seriously ill a few years ago, and their family was in bad financial shape, so I've been secretly helping her. My parents don't know about her existence. I was afraid you'd overthink it, or think our family relationships were complicated, which is why I kept it from you. His eyes were bloodshot, his expression pained yet sincere. That day, buying the pills, it really was her irresponsible boyfriend. She was just a girl, scared, so she came to me for help. What could I do? I couldn't just watch my own sister be bullied, could I? He spoke tearfully, as if he carried a huge injustice and secret. If I hadn't known the truth, I would almost have been fooled by his earnest facade. I looked at him and suddenly smiled. Marcus, is your story always so heart-wrenching? Do you really think I'd still believe you? He froze, seemingly surprised that I was completely unmoved. Grace, what I'm saying is true. I swear. Fine, I broke free of his hand and stepped back. Then take me to meet this sister of yours right now, and we can confront her together. Or, how about we get a paternity test right now? Marcus's face instantly turned ashen. His eyes darted away, and he stammered for excuses. She's emotionally unstable right now, not fit to see anyone. A test? How can you just do something like that? It would hurt her. Seeing his guilty demeanor, the last shred of sentiment I held for him vanished. I couldn't be bothered to argue further with him, so I walked around him and headed for the door. He chased after me again. This time, his tone changed, laced with a threat. Grace, if you dare walk out that door today, we are truly over. I didn't stop, pulling open the front door without looking back. We were over the moment you told your first lie. Behind me, I heard his furious shouts and the sound of a vase shattering. I didn't look back. The moment I stepped out of Marcus's family home, the sunlight stung my eyes. I hailed a cab and went directly to my apartment. It was a place I had bought before marriage, always vacant. Now, it was my only sanctuary. Sixth had been vacant for a long time and was covered in a thick layer of dust. I spent an afternoon cleaning it until it was spotless. My phone vibrated countless times in my bag, all calls from Marcus and his mother. I didn't answer any of them, eventually turning my phone off. Late at night, as I huddled on the sofa, a call from my best friend Chloe came in. Are you pulling a disappearing act? Chloe's voice was always so resonant. Marcus has been blowing up my phone, saying you're being unreasonable and ran away from home. I recounted everything in detail. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Grace, do you believe his nonsense about a sister? Not a single punctuation mark. All right, Chloe said decisively. Send me Tiffany's information. I happen to have friends at her university, and they can help me dig into who this sister really is. Chloe was a reporter for a well-known media outlet, excellent at investigating people. After hanging up, I sent over Tiffany's social media post and the limited information I knew. After all that, I looked at the city lights outside my window, feeling clear-headed for the first time. The next day, the moment I turned on my phone, Marcus's texts and missed calls flooded in. The most recent ones had shifted in tone from pleading to demanding. Grace, what exactly do you want? Do you have to escalate things to an unmanageable point? Do you know that rumors are already circulating on the university forum? Are you trying to destroy me with what you're doing? I scoffed and clicked on the university forum he mentioned. A post had been heavily upvoted, titled, "Shocking. Professor are from the School of Literature suspected of marital troubles, image as a devoted couple crumbles." The main post anonymously revealed that Professor's wife had publicly argued with him, using aggressive words that humiliated him. Most of the replies below were students defending Marcus. Did Grace misunderstand something? Professor is so kind. Exactly, Professor is so good to Mrs. Grace, he always looks so gentle when he talks about her. Outsiders must just be jealous. Someone even posted a screenshot of Tiffany's social media post, a photo of her in the passenger seat with the caption, "Thank you, benefactor, it's so good to have you." Although only a cuff of the driver's seat was visible, I recognized the expensive watch. It was Marcus's. Tiffany replied to the post using a burner account, "Everyone, please don't guess wildly. Professor and I are completely innocent. Mrs. Grace just has some misunderstandings about me. I hope she can understand soon." Playing the innocent victim. She was solidifying my image as a jealous, irrational madwoman. Marcus, is this your counterattack? Using public opinion to force me to compromise. 7. I saved all those screenshots. Not long after, the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole. Marcus stood outside, his face weary and haggard, truly looking like a pitiful man heartbroken by love. Seeing that I wouldn't open the door, he started banging on it loudly. "Grace, I know you're in there. Can we talk? I don't want to make things even uglier." Through the door, I said coldly, "Is there anything uglier than bringing the other woman to our home?" Marcus outside fell silent. After a long pause, his voice, thick with suppressed anger, came through. "I told you, she's my sister. Grace, why won't you believe me? Then open the door and let me in. I'll show you proof." A thought stirred in me. I wanted to see what new tricks he would pull. I opened the door. Marcus walked in, holding a brown paper bag. He emptied the contents of the bag onto the table, a few yellowed photos and a copy of the family records. In the photos, a younger Marcus stood with a delicate-looking girl. The girl's features indeed bore some resemblance to Tiffany's. "This is Tiffany's mother, Doris, my father's first love. They were forced apart back then, and my father always felt he owed her." Marcus pointed to the family records. "This is her family's family records. See, her surname is indeed Fong, and her mother is named Doris." His story was flawless, and the evidence was right there. But I knew, the more perfect something seemed, the more flaws it contained. "So, why are you the one taking care of your father's illegitimate daughter?" A flicker of pain crossed Marcus's eyes. "My mother can't know about this, it would upset her too much. As a son, am I wrong to bear this responsibility for my father?" "Grace, I admit it was wrong of me to keep it from you, but I did all of this for our family, to keep you from being troubled by complicated matters." He tried to take my hand. I dodged him again. "Marcus, do you know what your biggest problem is?" He froze. "You're too arrogant. You always think you can manipulate everyone." I picked up the family records, pointing to a tiny seal mark on it. "Forging an official seal is illegal, Professor." Marcus's face instantly turned chalk white. The edges of the seal were blurry, and the font had subtle differences from an official one, unnoticeable unless examined closely. His lips trembled, and he couldn't utter a word for a long time. I swept all the photos and copies into the trash can. "Now, you can leave." Marcus looked as if all his strength had been drained. He stared at me, his eyes showing genuine panic for the first time. "Grace, let me explain, get out." He left, utterly distraught, even forgetting the car keys on the table. I looked at the keychain, with the couple's keychain charm we had made together when we were deeply in love. Now, it just felt ironic. I threw it into the trash can without hesitation. Trash belongs in the trash can. 8. Just then, Chloe's call came in. "Holy cow, Grace, I found some major dirt." Chloe's voice was trembling with excitement. "That is no illegitimate daughter at all. Her mother, Doris, did indeed have a past with your father-in-law, but that's ancient history. The main thing is, Tiffany's biological father is a gambler who ran off years ago, deep in debt. And her mother is currently in a private nursing home, where the monthly fees are astronomical. The account paying for it belongs to Marcus." My mind buzzed. So, Marcus is paying to support Tiffany and her mother? Not just that. Chloe lowered her voice even further. My friend says Tiffany is no innocent lamb at school, she's dating several rich guys simultaneously. Marcus is just one of her benefactors. Oh, and I have an interesting video here, I'll send it to you later. After hanging up, I felt a wave of nausea. The man I had loved for 3 years was nothing but a chump willingly supporting someone else's mother, completely played by a master manipulator. I had been utterly blind. A moment later, I received a video from Chloe. The video showed a karaoke room, dimly lit. Tiffany was intimately close with a middle-aged man, his hand rested on her thigh, and she was giggling flirtatiously. Chloe captioned it, "The man is a wealthy businessman, another one of Tiffany's benefactors, very generous." Watching the seemingly innocent face in the video, so different from the pitiful act she put on for me, it was like looking at two different people. I saved the video. This still wasn't enough. What I wanted was Marcus's own confession. I dialed his phone number. It rang for a long time before he finally answered, his voice hoarse with a hint of a hangover. "Grace? Marcus, let's meet." He seemed surprised but agreed immediately. "Okay, I'll be right over." I hung up and set up a miniature camera in the corner of the living room. Marcus returned quickly. He had even shaved and changed into clean clothes. He was holding a cake from my favorite bakery, a tentative, ingratiating smile on his face. "Grace, I knew you couldn't bear to let me go." He tried to embrace me, but I sidestepped him. "Marcus, let's talk frankly, one last time." My calmness made him uneasy. "The family records are fake," I stated plainly. His eyes flickered, but he said nothing. "Tiffany is not your half-sister either." I looked into his eyes. "Her mother, Doris, lives in the most expensive private nursing home on the South Side, and you're paying hundreds of thousands in monthly fees, aren't you?" Marcus sharply raised his head, his eyes wide with disbelief. How did you know?" "I also know that Tiffany has more than just you as a benefactor." I pushed my phone towards him and played the video Chloe had sent. The video showed Tiffany's seductive laughter and the middle-aged man's lewd actions, causing Marcus's face to lose color inch by inch. He violently swept my phone to the floor, and the screen instantly shattered. "Enough," he roared. "Yes, I admit it. I admit I lied. I just like her. I'm willing to spend money on her. So what?" He finally shed all his pretense, revealing his true self. "Grace, everything about you is good. You're independent, beautiful, from a good family, and you make me look good when we're out. But with you, I'm tired. I don't feel like a husband, I feel like I'm performing a job. Only with Tiffany do I feel like a man. She worships me, she depends on me, she needs me." It was truly laughable. All my good qualities, in his eyes, had become the source of his stress. I pointed to the camera in the corner. "Everything we just discussed was recorded here. What do you think would happen if I handed this video, along with the evidence of your forged official seal and your slandering on the academic forum, over to the disciplinary committee at the university?" He followed my finger. And his body instantly stiffened. "No, you can't do this. Grace, you can't ruin me." I took out the divorce papers I had prepared earlier and placed them in front of him. "Sign this, and we'll part amicably. You leave with nothing, and we'll publicly announce an amicable breakup. I will destroy the video and all the evidence. If you don't sign." I paused. "Professor, I think you know the consequences very well." He looked up, his bloodshot eyes filled with pleading and fear. "Grace, give me another chance. I was wrong, I truly was wrong. I'll cut her off, I'll end things with her completely right now. Can we start over, please?" I looked at his familiar face, feeling utterly unfamiliar and disgusted. "Marcus, there's no going back for us." Seeing that I was unresponsive to reason, the pleading in his eyes slowly turned to resentment. "Grace, you're truly ruthless. You taught me to be." Ultimately, under immense pressure, he picked up the pen. His trembling hand signed his name at the bottom of the divorce papers. At that moment, I let out a long sigh of relief. This 3-year marital farce had finally come to an end. After signing, he left, utterly dejected. I leaned against the door, slowly sliding down. Tears finally streamed down my face. 3 years of my youth, wasted on him. The next day, Chloe accompanied me to the courthouse. When I received the dark green divorce certificate, the sun was shining brightly. Chloe patted my shoulder. "Congratulations, Ms. Grace, on your fresh start." I smiled. Yes, a fresh start. We had a celebratory steak dinner, and drank the strongest spirits. Chloe raised her glass. "To saying goodbye to jerks, and to a bright future for us. Cheers." That evening, I posted a social media post with only a picture of my divorce certificate. No caption. Soon, my phone exploded with notifications. There were messages of shock, concern, and regret. Margaret's call also came in. She cursed me out over the phone, saying I had ruined her son and that I had no conscience. I hung up immediately and blocked all contact from Marcus's family home. The world was finally peaceful. Life after divorce was calmer than I had imagined. I poured all my energy into work. My company was a rapidly growing startup, and I was one of the earliest partners. In recent years, to accommodate Marcus's emotional needs, I had deliberately slowed down, letting many opportunities pass me by. Now, I could finally charge forward without reservations. I next heard news of Marcus a month later. According to Chloe, Marcus and Tiffany had a complete falling out. Marcus took all his resentment out on Tiffany, stopped paying her mother's nursing home fees, and even made a list of all the money he had spent on her, forcing her to pay it back. Tiffany was no pushover either. She had leverage against Marcus, and the two of them started a nasty dog-eat-dog fight. Eventually, Marcus's university began an internal investigation into him. When found out, she simply anonymously sent all the evidence and videos I had backed up to the university. While I had made a promise to Marcus, Chloe certainly hadn't. But none of it concerned me anymore. 6 months later, as a company representative, I stood on the stage at the annual summit. Under the spotlights, I looked at the vast crowd below, my heart clear and bright. In these 6 months, I had led my team to secure the company's largest project since its inception. I was busy every day, and life, as expected, had given me the greatest rewards. After the ceremony, I was conversing with several partners in the reception area. "Congratulations, Ms. Grace." I smiled, raising my wine glass, about to respond, when a hoarse yet familiar voice sounded behind me. "Grace." My hand, holding the wine glass, paused, but I didn't turn around. He walked around to face me. Marcus had lost a lot of weight, his eyes were sunken, his once sharp suit now looked empty on him, and his hair was somewhat disheveled. The refined elegance of a university professor was completely gone, leaving only weariness and destitution. He held a box tightly in his hand, cautiously presenting it to me. "Grace, this is." I fixed the keychain charm. I glanced at it. It was the couple's keychain charm I had thrown into the trash long ago. Seeing my lack of reaction, the light in his eyes dimmed little by little, and his voice took on a pleading tone. "The university fired me. Tiffany, she left too, and she took the last of my money. I tried looking for other jobs, but my reputation is already." He gave a bitter laugh, full of shame. "I have nothing left, Grace. I only just realized that you were the only one who truly cared for me." The conversations around us quieted, and several curious gazes fell upon us. I placed my wine glass on the server's tray and looked at him. "Mr. Shen, your affairs have nothing to do with me." My calmness and detachment seemed to be the final straw for him. He suddenly grabbed my wrist with alarming force, his eyes bloodshot. "It does concern me." "How can it not concern me? You're my wife." "We're divorced," I said, enunciating each word, reminding him of this fact, and forcefully pulling my hand away. The murmurs around us were now impossible to ignore. Marcus seemed not to hear. With bloodshot eyes, he suddenly knelt before me. "Grace, I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. Please forgive me. Can we get remarried?" He looked up, his face, once so beloved, now contorted with only subservience and despair. All eyes in the room focused on us, a mix of shock, sympathy, and morbid curiosity. I looked at him like this, feeling no ripple in my heart, only absurdity. I didn't spare him another glance, turning directly away. Chloe quickly walked over, linked her arm through mine, and quietly asked, "Should I call security?" "No need," I said, looking at the dazzling lights ahead, not slowing my pace. "Trash always gets taken out." Behind me, his heart-wrenching cries and pleas were quickly drowned out by the sounds of security personnel taking control. I didn't look back. Stepping out of the ballroom, the evening breeze was cool, dispersing the commotion that clung to me. Chloe sighed beside me. "If only I had known then what I know now." I smiled faintly, looking up at the moon. It was truly round. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section, and we welcome your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.